But my first time that I did comedy was to a Nigerian crowd. Yeah, and I bombed.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. I bombed.
Oh, did you laugh?
I didn't laugh.
You should have laughed.
And then I asked them, "Do you like music?" They say yes. Then we sang Jama.
Hello, world, and once again, welcome to Nana Frema's TV. Hey, today get yourself ready, get your bellies and your cheeks ready because it's going to be filled with laughter. Today, I have one of the most funniest person here on earth, and then also an A-list comedian in Ghana. So he celebrated his decade in comedy throughout the whole 10 years. So I found him here in North Carolina. We have no one other than OB Amponsah. Hey, hey.
Hey,
OB, welcome to Nana Frema's
thank you
TV, and
so much.
thank you
Thank you so
for
much.
honoring this invitation. How are you doing?
I'm great. I feel good. The weather is cold sometimes. I mean, it's warm sometimes. So I'm trying to deal with it.
Are
But
you trying to adjust to it? Are
yeah,
you sure? But I thought in Ghana, because recently
mm-hmm.
someone, in Ghana said that because of the new, government
Administration.
right now, it's like it feels like, they're in US and or they're, outside Ghana. Like Ghana is feeling like, and you're not feeling.
That's just a terrible lie. That's just a terrible lie. The sun in Ghana, nothing compares
Oh
to it.
yeah.
Nah, nothing compares to it. Yeah, I mean here it changes. So sometimes it's very hot, like the sun comes out, and then when it's cold, it's really cold.
Have you experienced the summer here in US?
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
all right, then
I
get
haven't
ready
yet.
for that.
Yeah, here's an awesome time though.
Ooh, very hot. It's hotter than Ghana.
I prefer hot. I prefer hot.
Me too.
You too.
I love the time. When I'm in Ghana, I love it because
Yeah.
it's hot and I'm sweating. I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
I mean, I prefer that too.
Yeah.
The code is, yeah, but I mean,
We're not born for that.
exactly. Our skin is not too bad for that.
Yeah, but
But it's been
nevertheless,
good.
it's been
Yeah, it's
good.
been good around
Nice,
here. Yeah.
nice.
I like how the systems are so in place, the road, the traffic. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Everything. I don't even want to go over the speed limit.
Are you sure?
It's 45, like 44, 45, and I'm stuck on 45.
Right.
I don't even want to go. I hear if you go below, you can be arrested, like for driving below the speed limit.
Something like that. Yeah.
And you can be arrested for going above it.
Yeah, so either or below or above.
So me, I'm
So
on 45.
45 is the
I'm
best
stuck
number.
on 45 Frema. I'm not.
Right.
Hey, I'm a foreigner. I have to
But
behave.
I think that now when you go back to Ghana, then the traffic, you are going to be slow because people are going to honk their horns or
In
you.
Ghana, you drive with your voice. You drive with your voice and your horns. Like you drive with your whole body. So if somebody is not paying attention, you can just take out your head and then shout at the person. So
And then that's it.
yeah, in Ghana, you need all your sensory skills to drive. In Ghana, yeah.
Not so much of the driving skill, but the senses.
Yeah, sensory. You need your ears. Everything needs to work. There was I think I followed the news and a vehicle had toppled over the Achimota overhead and then gone downstairs. So now in Ghana, if you're crossing the road, you have to look left, right, and then up. Because the vehicle came from. It's crazy. Ghana, you have to be very tactical when you are.
You have to.
Yeah.
That's why we are tough.
That's why we are tough.
Yeah, we can survive anywhere. We can adapt
anywhere.
anywhere.
Once we adapt,
Yeah.
we can go anywhere.
All right. Okay. So let's start off. So, and I stand to be corrected. It seems like at the very tender age of 6, you were in a boarding school. Do you even recollect at that age how it was for you at boarding school?
Yeah, I remember my boarding school days. It was in Brekum Makap complex. So I grew up in the Bunga region. So my dad realized he was being transferred too much on too many occasions. So what he planned to do was to put us in a stationary school where, uh, in spite of the transfers he's going through, we'll still have a place to like we have one school that we are attending, so that
Right,
we
instead of
don't, yeah,
changing
instead of
school.
changing schools always. So uh yeah, I went to the boarding school at a tender age, I think at 7 or 6. Yeah, primary 4, that's when I started boarding school, and then finished with JSS. So yeah, at Brekum, that's where I started boarding school.
So boarding school from
Primary
eight,
4
seven, or 6 all the way
to GSS 3.
to JSS,
Yeah,
and then and of course in high school Ghana is boarding school,
yeah.
and then also then you
Then I
continue.
went to the uni boarding school as well. So yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, it seems like I spent quite a number of,
Nothing in a boarding school, yeah.
yeah, a lot of
So
my
at
years
that age, how was it for you? Do
was
you
stuff.
even recollect how it was? Did you feel like you were in a different world than at home?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Boarding school was an entirely different world. It felt like, you come to meet different people. And for me, I was very young. So there you would meet seniors who are like, some were coming from farming places, some were farmers, legitimate farmers in
Oh.
a boarding school at JSS. Some were older, some had wives. Like, I'm
Mm?
not kidding. I'm not kidding. And there were seniors, JSS 3, who had wives. And so, and there was this kind of, find your way out there, in the boarding school. I wouldn't advise my child to go to the boarding school at that
At that
age. Yeah,
age,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because you are now forming, you are in your formative years. So, and there's a lot of peer influence and all that. Yeah. I actually like got indulged in a lot of stuff. Like I started learning some stuff there, some good stuff and some bad stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, in your formative years, it's kind of wild, like,
Right.
yeah, you are now to see, okay, this a woman, this a guy, and there are people, engaging in boyfriend, girlfriend stuff that you are so alien to. Like,
Right.
you are young and you don't know about these things. Now you become the betweener. So often I was like the middleman for these boyfriend, girlfriends, because I didn't know anything about those things. So they would send me, So I would take the Gary and soakings from the girls' dormitory, then bring it to the boys' dormitory. And then when they finish, I'll eat some. Then when they finish, I'll watch the place and then so I was like the mediator between these.
Between.
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy. A lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things. Sometimes I remember vividly. I was like a betweener for one guy and his girlfriend. Hey,
How
this
long
happened.
did that
Those,
go
those
on?
oh no, I was a legit betweener. Like, if they completed, I got a new batch.
Wow.
Yeah. That look, I don't know how to say this, but I remember there was a time, and this was a long time ago. There was a time that you call something match. So you arrange for the man, the guy and his girlfriend to go to one classroom late at night to do stuff. Yeah. I was the betweener. I
At
was
that
sending.
at that time, what age were you then?
I would be around 11, 10 now, 12.
Oh
But I was
wow.
like the watchman. So I'm keeping guard. Yo. Yeah, those were some, so
I
those
see.
were some wild times. Yeah.
So then, did you feel like there was maybe like a misconnection between you and parents? Did you miss home that much,
Yeah,
or
yeah. I
was it
always
normal?
missed home, but my dad and mom did something that I always appreciated. So I was in Brekum and they were in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But then my dad didn't have a car, but he had a motorbike. And so every visiting time they will come from Drobo to Bekum. My mom would sit behind my daddy's bike with food. Yeah, with the basket of food. And then every visiting time they were coming around. So I didn't really miss them much
Okay.
because they would come around to
Right.
check on me. Also, I had a guardian, like one of the pantry women, the ones who cook. Yeah, was my guardian. So she was also looking out for me in
Okay.
that regard. And then my mom entrusted me into one SDA nurse
Mm-hmm.
in Brekum. So she would also pick me on Saturdays to church. And
Okay.
so yeah, I had that
Okay.
kind of
Okay. Okay.
sanity there.
Right. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Because
They brought.
between the job that you were doing on campus, you definitely need that.
Yeah, so that was how sanity was restored for
Okay,
me. Yeah.
that's awesome. That's nice. So, at what point did you, because you've done comedy and especially in Ghana and Africa, nobody sends their child to school to go do comedy.
Yeah.
But we do know that, or the world, or most Ghanaians know that you're also a doctor. So, at what point did you know that, okay, or at what age did you think that I am a comedian?
Yeah, I think comedy for me started in the boarding house at Brekum. So, before I went to the boarding house, we were watching concert party at home when, like, on Saturday evenings, the Kiso concert party, those Nkomode, Okales. And after that, me and my brother would enact the whole scene together. Like, we would wear that big watch. Okala had those watches and do the all those stuff. And so comedy kind of started for us from home. While watching these people, we tried to replicate what they were doing. And so when I went to the boarding house during Saturday nights, where we have variety nights, people will come sing, some will dance, but I would do comedy. So it kind of started from there, where I wanted to, like, okay, anytime people wanted to laugh, I was the one they would talk to. Even in class, when the class was quiet and nobody was, I would just stand up and start telling jokes, which were jokes from my dad, jokes I heard from my dad. So my dad, like, inculcated that spirit of comedy in us while we were growing up. So yeah, that was the line I started towing. But professionally, I didn't think of it professionally as
So
an
at
earning.
what point did you think that it
Yeah,
was okay for you to do it
it
professionally?
was after some friends suggested it to me in the uni.
Had you finished, or when you were in the
Yeah,
university?
that was when
Okay.
they were like, dude, take this seriously. Yeah, so I remember we went for a trip, these church trips, like when you are in level 100 and they do the freshers welcome, they go on trips to maybe Nzulezu and all that. And so there was this time that we were going to Nzulezu and I was standing in the bus throughout the journey. I didn't sit, and it was just jokes. And I could sense it, I could feel it. They were just enjoying themselves. And then we were coming back. They were like, sorry. They were like, can I give them one? I was like, yeah. Then I stood in the bus again and did it. And so about five of my friends observed it and were like, nah, you need to make a career out of this because this is exactly what KSM is doing. That was the prime example they gave me. KSM, Kweku Sinti Misa, was doing that, and people were laughing at it, and he's making money out of it. So how about me? I was like, yeah, okay. So they started, like, those friends actually helped me have my first comedy show on UCC campus. That was when I was in level 600. Yeah, and after that, that was like the initiating steps for me. After that, it just started going. But my first time that I did comedy was to a Nigerian crowd at Indum's Hotel at Cape Coast, Elmina Resort, Beach Resort.
Okay.
Yeah, and I bombed.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. I bombed.
Oh.
When a comedian says I bombed,
Okay.
it is not nice,
It
my
was not
dear.
nice. Oh
No,
gosh.
no. If he says I killed, that is
Got
nice.
you.
But I bombed. It was bad. Like,
No one laughed.
no one laughed.
All Nigerian crowd.
Yeah, that was my beginning. Like, when the first time I wanted
Did
to
you laugh?
I didn't laugh.
You should have laughed.
So what happened was, so when I went there, like I told you, I started comedy with my daddy's jokes. And so my dad had told me a joke about when, like, during his wedding day, he wore a shoe that had a hole under. But only he knew about that because nobody else knew about it. So he and my mom were marching to the altar, and then when they got to the altar and their backs were facing the church, the pastor asked them to kneel down. And he was like, nah, that is not happening. Either we stand or this marriage is over. So I felt like that was funny. And that was like my first joke I was telling them. So I'm telling these Nigerians, they're like, Omo, tell us another joke now. This one not funny. It's like, what?
Did
You're
you
telling.
had another joke?
I didn't have any other joke. I'm like, this is all I came with, guys. And then so they were like, you can't tell us another joke. I was like, this is and then I asked them, do you like music? They say yes. Then we sang Jama.
Was it a paid comedy
Yeah,
or what?
no, no,
Was it free?
it was a free show. So I was like,
Okay,
okay, then let's
okay,
sing Jama.
right,
Then they joined.
okay.
They enjoyed the music. So I was like, okay, this works.
Okay, so on from that day, then what did you learn about comedy? Because here you are, your friends are telling you that,
Hmm.
you're a comedian and then, you need to have it as a profession. So did you, at that moment, did you think that, yes, definitely, I'm going to go for this profession,
Yeah,
or no, let me just stick to my my studies,
optometry.
right? Optometry,
I
yeah.
mean, I enjoy challenges, okay, and I I don't mind failing at things I do, because I know that as long as I have life, I have chances to always pursue this stuff, and I know how passionate I am about comedy, and so I don't take a failure, a passing failure, as the definition of myself, and so when it comes to performing to, so I'm not scared of an audience. Yeah, I'll be fidgety behind stage and all that, but when I'm on stage, I know it is time to give my all. If my all is not the best, there's always a second chance. And so that was my first humbling moment. I was like, okay, so this is not as easy as it looks, and I know I can do better if I keep working on my stuff. And yeah, so it kind of shaped me in a way that I think my first top, my hardest task started from my beginning. And then I wasn't that scared of anything anymore. In fact, there was a time that I went to perform at 1021 Laughs. And this is like Charterhouse, December show. They charge people like 300 CDs, 500 CDs. Like people pay to come and watch. And on that stage, I bombed. Frema was crazy.
Again.
That one was like a big Accra International Conference Center. Hey, and I have 20 minutes to do comedy. And then the first joke, usually the comedian, you put your best joke in the beginning and then at the end. So that they warm up to you in the beginning. Now you're killing it.
Right.
Give them the puff, then you are off
Of
stage.
the stage.
Now my poof is not puffing, mind, yeah. So like the first joke, they are looking at me.
Like, okay.
Okay, what? And I'm like, why are they not laughing? I go to the second joke, and then
Uh-oh.
now it was just bad. And I just done 5 minutes of the 20, and I was bombing, and I had 15 minutes more to bomb. Yeah, it was bad. I remember there was a Nigerian comedian who came before me. His name was Kenny Black. His name is still Kenny Black. After his performance, the stage was like, the room was like, I don't know how to call it. Like they were all turned up. They were like, oh, they have laughed. And so it's the next comedian to come is me.
Maybe it was because of that.
I
Maybe
don't know, man.
it wasn't maybe
No, but I mean,
they've
if you're
laughed.
funny, you're funny. You
Right.
understand? I'm not going to say it's because they had laughed before. That's why they are there. I mean, I'm not expecting them to cry. So as I'm there too, it's my time. It's my turn to also make them laugh, just like the other guy did. But unfortunately, I couldn't match up. It was on that day that I almost quit comedy, actually. I know maybe I'm getting ahead of your questions, but it was on that day
You're fine.
that I almost quit comedy because I actually quit.
You did.
Yeah, I actually quit.
Because my next question was going to ask you that, you know, when you're writing your, take me through or take us through the process of your comedy writing. Do you actually sit down and then, write them, or you just go on the stage? I mean, how does it work?
Nah, for me, I write. Some comedians do not. They do improv. They just go on stage and try to pick one. Even them have some backhand jokes. But for me, I do write my jokes. I do more observational jokes, and I try to listen to what's trendy, what's happening in the system, and then find the jokes around them. So for instance, this like 2 weeks that I've been in United States, most of the jokes that I've written are around the Trump executive orders, the ICE invading nightclubs and churches, and you know
And which audience have you been facing so far
white
here?
audience.
White audience.
Yeah,
How was it? How was
they're
the
enjoying
crowd?
it. Yeah, I remember. When I came here, the first church, I did not play with Jesus. I did not play with God. So the first church I went to was a black American SDA church, and it was intense. Like this was my first. I was like, wow, this like this is not the SDA I'm
I was
used to.
gonna ask
Like,
you.
oh, woo, yes. Like the pastor is speaking and someone's like, come on now, come on. I'm like, come on, you're allowed to speak. So yeah, and then the pastor's sermon was the
And that's
title.
not so typical in
No,
SD.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, I know.
And because of the Trump stuff, I realized that the Black American church was so anti-Trump. Like that's what I realized when I got there. Because the pastor's sermon was the title was "We Are Not Going Back," and then immediately he said the title of my sermon today is "We Are Not Going Back." One man in the audience shouted, "Damn right, we are not going back."
In the church.
Yeah, in the church. And the pastor was like, "I'm talking about sin." He said, "Okay, I thought you were talking about Africa." Yeah, so I mean, this is an observation, right?
Right.
I'll admit to you that some part of it is added. Okay, so
Of course.
for what the pastor actually said was, yeah, we are not going back. That was the title. But I sat there and was like, you are not going back. Like, okay, what kind of joke can I make out of it?
Right.
So now you see how I've written that joke. So when I write a joke like this, now it's time for you to test it with an audience to see if the joke will work. So you get about, if you are able to get 10 people maximum, it's okay. Uh, they are like a representation of a larger population. So if they're able to laugh at those jokes, you're like, okay, these jokes work. Next time you build on it. Next time you. So yeah, we keep writing the jokes and then you try it. You write the jokes and you try it. You write the jokes and then you try it. The ones that work, you keep them. The ones that do not work, you just throw them away. There's no need to waste time over one joke that doesn't just work.
Doesn't
Yeah,
work.
it's just
Yeah.
like the musicians, they put out their best singles. You understand? So on an album, you listen, you say, oh, this album is 10 over 10. It's because they have, the kind of music they have thrown away. Like there are a lot of music they didn't put on the album. Just like that's how comedians also do. So I write, I observe, and then I put them into jokes and then tell them and see how it
Have
works.
you ever repeated your jokes in different crowds?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do that. Especially in Ghana, you gotta repeat the jokes.
But if you have like the same audience,
That's why
that went the other place and
that's
then
why we don't like people putting our shows out. Because I would rather, for us in Ghana, when this is how the Ghanaian market is. So maybe EcoBank will bill you for a show, okay? Then you go and then you perform. Stanbic will bill you for a show, and then you go perform the same jokes
right.
because it's Stanbic that you're performing to, not EcoBank.
Bank.
And these EcoBank people don't even mess with Stanbic, so there's no way they are going to hear those jokes. Now you are at the Stanbic show, and then you have recorded the video, but my next show is at Fidelity, and then you've put it out there, and everybody at Fidelity has seen the joke now. Now I'm telling it, they're like, bro,
We've heard it
just tell.
before.
And jokes, yeah, jokes rely on surprise
Yes.
because you don't know what is coming. So I tell the joke, like, then you laugh. Next time, you know the joke is coming. You know the
Yeah.
punchline is coming.
Yeah.
Like, the man is going to fall. Just say it and tell me another joke.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's why comedians have a problem with like people putting their jokes out. But for me, I feel like to market yourself also, you need to put your stuff out. The Ghanaian audience, apart from the corporate, when it comes to the comedy audience, they are just a handful. And they are the ones who show up for maybe Lexi, the comedy show. There are some ones who show up for Jacinta's show, same ones who show up for Ojo's show. And on all of these shows, you are also on it.
Right.
Yeah, so you tell a joke here, the same person you told a joke to here is also here. You can't tell the same joke to that person. So, but sometimes you feel like you are stuck, man. Coming up with a new joke is not easy. Coming up
I
with a
see.
joke that works.
How do you know that it's gonna work? Well, I'm sure you
Until you
don't.
try it.
You try it. How are you gonna try it?
That's why you see, for us comedians, we have open mics, we have open spots. That's why there's always a comedy club around somewhere. The comedy clubs are for you to go try your stuff out on that number of people. If it works, you know it's going to work everywhere. So yeah, you try these ones. Otherwise, you wouldn't know whether the joke will work. A
Right.
joke only works after you've tried it on people.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you ever practiced after school. Have you
You mean
ever?
like optometry?
Yeah,
Oh
have
yeah.
you? Oh, okay. So do you do that part time now, or how's it playing out?
So I completed uni in 2014.
Okay.
So and then I did my internship at Insawam Government Hospital for a year. And then I got admission to as admission. I got employed.
Employed.
I got employed to
Mhm.
work at a private eye clinic at Awutu around Kaswa. So Wadbog Eye Clinic. So I worked there for about 4 years. So 2015 to 2019. Yeah. And so in 2019, I got a chance to go and perform at a basketball show in Nigeria,
Mhm.
Lord of the Ribs. And then I realized the show started coming. And so but it was conflicting with my 8 to 5 job. Yeah. But the shows that were coming to the morning was
It was heavier than
than
the
the 8 to 5.
85.
So I was like, okay, let's sit down and discuss this thing properly. And so I just weighed the two and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this the 8 to 5 on a part-time. I don't want to be restricted to a particular clinic. Because there was a day I had a show, they called me, I think it was for Talo Oil. They called me and booked me for 2 shows. So they said if the show in Accra was successful, they are booking me for a bigger one at Kumasi. So 2 shows have been booked, I've billed them, money has been paid. And so on the day of the show, it was a weekday, I had my day off. But on that day was when my boss called me to come back to work. I tried as much as possible to make it because I went to
Did
work.
they know that you were also a comedian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I went to work. They knew I was off that day actually.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I went to work, attended to the patients, tried to leave at 4, got home, changed, picked the motorbike from Kaswa to Labadi Beach Hotel. Yeah, by the time I got there, it was done. They were doing the vote of thanks. And then the man who organized the show called me. He said, "Young man, are you serious about this, your craft?" I said, "I'm serious, sir. I brought a motorbike here." So I don't think you're serious. Because we are considering other people. And then I suggested that they use you. And you don't make it on time, you have to be. That day after that conversation, I went to sit on this chair around the garden somewhere in Labadi Beach. And then I cried. Yeah, I wept. I was like, nope, 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 nope. I'm too passionate about comedy to be losing these gigs and
Yeah.
having these conversations. So that was like the defining moment for me. I was like, okay, no, how about do this part time and then see where the comedy will also lead me. And yeah, that and then the basket map show in Nigeria, living in Ghana for about a week. I was like, okay, maybe this is the direction to go. So after, and then 2020, COVID came.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I quit in 2019, and then COVID came in
Which one did you
2020.
quit?
Optometry.
Optometry.
Yeah,
Okay.
not like I quit the job, the private place I was working at.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. But not the profession
no. So
itself.
now I was
Okay.
doing more of locum.
Okay.
So locum is like in the medical
Like
field.
per diem, like
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like a substitute doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I was doing, and then COVID came, and now every doctor was stationary. They were not moving anywhere because COVID is in like, and so I wasn't getting any place to work.
Okay.
Yeah, during COVID it was tough, and though I couldn't go to the clinic anymore because I didn't have a permanent place, and nobody was leaving their place,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all essential workers, so like they were
Right.
going out to work.
Mm-hmm.
I also couldn't do comedy
Right, because the
because people
crowd.
were not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a very
Wow.
tough place during
I
COVID.
can imagine. Yeah.
And people were suggesting, oh, you do Zoom, do those
Telly.
yeah, it
Did
doesn't work.
it? Did it?
It doesn't work for stand-up comedy. It may work for musicians and all, because but for us we dwell on
Engage.
we dwell on your laughter to show
Mm-hmm.
that okay, I'm doing well. If you laugh, it means I'm doing well. If you do not, it means change the
There's
joke.
emo laughing emos. They could
How
use
many
it.
times have you laughed when you have sent that thing? Usually I always say that like people will say the laughter by their front, their face behind their computers. People who send you voice notes of laughter, they have finished laughing before. I'm telling you, if you send somebody a funny video and then they send you a voice note
How
of
was that?
laughter, It's because because when you are laughing at the video, you don't remember to record yourself. It's after you are finished, like you're like, okay, I have to send the laughter now.
True.
Yeah, yeah. So I that's how I felt with the online comedy, because you be cracking jokes. Of course, people will be typing LOL, people will laughing emojis, but Malam Nati, I'll come and sell medicine. During your live show, he says big panis. I'm like, what? Now he just distracted everybody's attention. So so online wasn't good
It
for us.
wasn't
Yeah.
working. I see.
Those were some tough times during the COVID, but we found a way. So corporate people have always looked out for us. I mean, for me, I would say. So they would say, okay, we are trying to do a Zoom kind of uh, hangout, and then they invite you to come perform, and so you see the people's faces on a screen, and then you alone. Oh man, I remember those times. You're alone in
In
the
the
room,
room.
and they're just there looking at you on the screen. Yeah, that's how we were trying to hold up during those times. Yeah.
Okay, so since then, have you been practicing, or are you now laying back a little bit? Do you think that now that you're here in the United States, that you're doing comedy also, are you going to be balancing comedy and then optometry?
Yeah, I I,
Okay.
I plan to do so. I have in my 10 years doing comedy and like 10 years doing optometry as well. I've realized that arts brings in more money than staying in the clinic. And I'm very passionate about optometry. I'm passionate about there's a lot I've learned in taking care of people's eyes, and where I was located and practicing was more of the rural area, and so I met like classic patients, like patients with
Who really need,
yeah, who are really in
then
need, yeah.
yeah,
And so I realized that okay, my contribution to society could be me reaching out to these rural areas with optometry, and that can be done with money from comedy. You understand? So the end goal for me is to find money to establish like a mobile clinic for the people in this, because some of
rural
the
places.
conditions you
Yeah.
see, they just need a cataract surgery and they can see properly. Some of them just there's a lot of opacities in their eyes. Just take it
There
out.
are a lot of what?
Opacities.
Like
Opacities.
opaque?
Yeah, their
Okay.
lenses are opaque.
Okay.
So
Oh,
just take out the opaque lenses, put a cleaner one, a clearer
that's
one there.
it.
That's it. And they are back to seeing correctly. And that's there are a lot of NGOs who are doing these outreaches and all. So my plan is to like be able to meet these people in these clinics, in the mobile clinic where they can access free eye care, with my comedy money. So
That's
that's
nice.
the
That
grand scheme.
that's the end goal. That's a great
Thank you
goal.
so much.
Yeah, and it takes money
Yeah, it takes
to
money.
do NG, well, not necessarily NGO, but like to the idea that you
Yeah.
have, but even to have it a start,
Yeah.
money is good. It takes
Money
money,
is very important. It's
right?
very important.
Yeah, and then like you're saying, arts bring more
That's
money.
true.
So in all your crowds,
Mm.
has there been a crowd where there are like hecklers in your crowd? Have you experienced any kind of hecklers in your
Yeah,
crowd? Oh yeah?
Those Nigerian guys were heckling
But
me.
they, I mean,
Almost not funny. I mean, yeah, hecklers. I do meet hecklers. I remember there was, well, it wasn't a heckle, but I had to perform at a birthday of a minister's wife, and in attendance was the president.
the now
No,
president
the
or the
ex, the
the oh,
the
okay,
former
our
president.
favorite
Yeah, our
president.
favorite. So, and he loves my jokes. Like I've performed to him about 3 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember when they mentioned my name, OB Amponsah, and I went for the microphone. I heard somebody seated behind him shouting, "No expensive joke." I've never heard somebody warn me like that. I'm like, which one is expensive? Which one is like
That was my
affordable?
next question, but then yeah, carry on.
I wasn't sure there's no expensive jokes. And for me, I always try to make fun of the moment. And so the moment I took the microphone, I was like, yeah, right, I'm not going to tell any expensive joke, guys. And that was like what broke the ice for me on that day. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had too many hecklers. Ghanaians don't heckle that much. Ghanaians are very responsive. If you are not fine, they won't laugh. But if you are funny, they would laugh.
Like you have to be like boo ha ha funny and
And then
yeah.
Ghanaians are like, we have paid, prove to us. Ghanaians are like that. Like,
Yeah.
prove to
Yeah.
us that you are funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we are more hospitable to, you know, other people than us. Like, if a Nigerian comedian came and cracked the same joke that I also cracked, they laugh more at the Nigerian guy than myself, because they're like, you can do better. Like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there have been hecklers, but not
So
much on my
so
side.
which countries have you experienced hecklers?
Yeah. Which countries? Well, so I've done comedy in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I've done comedy in Zambia. I've done comedy in no, not in Rwanda. I've done comedy in Rwanda.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So South Africa, Zambia, Rwanda, Nigeria. Those were like beautiful places. None of them heckled me. So this is it. Like I'm saying, just like us Ghanaians are comfortable with strangers, you know, give them the best plates in our houses. Like when I remember my mom, if a stranger visited, that was when she open the shelf and pull out the special bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, that we never eaten, but
Mm-hmm.
the stranger gets to eat in it. Yeah. And so I think it's a thing with all African countries. So when you go there, they are very receptive. And I always advise other creatives to step out of their comfortable zones. The moment you step out of the Ghanaian zone and then you go to a Nigeria, they're always eager to hear what you have brought
Yeah.
for them to also listen, because they are used to their comedians there. And so when they hear, and it's amazing when you travel and then you realize that what you are experiencing in Ghana is not just peculiar to Ghana, it's almost across board. But I have this GTV joke that I do about how their television screens, like back in the day when GTV you're watching it, they say we'll be back after the break, but the switches don't switch, and so yeah, you'll be back after the
And then
break.
they're still there.
They're like cutting, cutting. And you know, and you know, there was a comedian from Iswatini. He came to tell that same joke. He was like, even them in their Swatini TV, like you can have your volume,
Right.
but the TV has their own volume. So you can lower it to one. And you have to like put off your whole TV. And now you can, they go very silent. You increase the volume and like you cannot even hear them. So like, I was like, wow, this is just a common cultural thing amongst African countries. So yeah, I mean, traveling around African countries doing comedy, it's been amazing. It hasn't been much of a heckle. It's
Okay.
been much of an
More
experience, more of an
okay.
experience. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Well, that's nice. But I can feel that maybe here you might have some
Oh
hecklers.
yeah. I look forward to those things, like, because hecklers are part of comedy. You understand? Yeah, hecklers are part of comedy. They, especially when heckling starts, for you the comedian, the advantage you have is you have the microphone and you also have the audience on your side, because most of them, they didn't come to pay to come watch the heckler. They paid to come watch you, and so they're on your side to deal with the heckler so they can continue enjoying
Right.
your jokes.
Right.
And so you, the comedian, have that advantage, and I don't mind. I'm expecting some. If it happens, we see how we deal
Well,
with it.
since you've never experienced that, is there also a moment where it's like you've pinched yourself like, oh, Ash, this is it, like OB, like I did it. I'm sure, has there been numerous moments or
Where like I came off stage and I was like, I killed it.
like yeah.
Yeah, when I climbed off the Nigerian stage at
Okay.
Basket Mouth,
When
Lord,
was that?
Lord of the Rings was in September 2019, I think. Oh, it was amazing. Like, it was my first audience, like international, and a lot of people, Nigerians, show up for comedy. Echo Hotel, like right, left, front, every place was filled. And then when I went on stage, I decided not to give them time to breathe. So, usually when you're laughing, then you pause, then I tell the next joke, then you start laughing. I didn't
You
pause.
didn't pause. You
It just
just
like,
flow it.
and they're like, now they're laughing, they're holding it. I was like, yeah, keep it. And then I was give it, okay. And then I was like, bah, and then I finished. They just stood up and then they started clapping. And then I left the
Amazing.
stage. I left the stage feeling so good. And I was like, thank God I recorded this video because I'm going to post it for Ghanaians to see that their boy is killing it.
Right. How
Yeah,
many awards have you won so far?
a lot too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot. I may not be able to count, but I've
Nice.
won Comedian of the Year. I've won um, uh, Popular Comedian. I've won quite a number from CTFM, from
Only in
George.
Ghana or outside Ghana?
Outside, I have not won anything outside. That I would say,
Soon.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, those are additives. You know, for me, the focus is to make people happy. And so, if somebody recognizes my work and says, "I'm giving you this as a recognition," cool. But if it
Right.
doesn't come, I don't dwell much on those stuff
Gotcha.
because I feel like those things are earned,
Mm-hmm.
not yeah. That's why it's called awarded. We have
Right.
awarded you with this. But even those that counts with voting and stuff, I don't really feel it because then it's not anyway. Let's leave it.
So, as you know, the other day you were in a crowd and somebody says, no expensive joke.
Mhm.
Have you ever, cracked jokes? Because I mean, comedians do, you guys do rough shoulders a bit, when it politics, whoever
Yeah.
have you had that moment where you've made an expensive joke and it's gotten you in trouble, whether in Ghana or anywhere that?
Yeah, for me a couple of times.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
I'm one of the
who did you
comedians.
joke about?
The current president, John
Oh,
Mahama. Yeah.
did
I
they get into like serious trouble?
oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. I remember it was 24th
What did you
December.
say?
24th December 2000 and 24th December 2019. Yeah, yeah. December to remember. City TV. So I did a joke. I have a joke about names. Okay, and I say like names have impact. So the kind of name you give to your daughter or your son, it will have an impact on the kid. For like a name like Steve Jobs creates jobs for people. You know, Bill Gates open gates for people. You even open windows. You know, kept going. Good like Jonathan. Right? You know, I've come to Africa. I'm doing good like Jonathan. He had good luck following him till he became a president. I came to Africa. I came to Ghana like Amake Abebrese, you know, like the actress, you know, her name, because of her name, she's always playing Abebrese roles, you know, like sad. Because Beast of No Nation, she was sad. Like she's always looking a bit sad in her movies. And then I said, even the name John Mahama, even no, I said even the name Mahama in Hausa, it means corruption. Hey. And then after that joke, I knew it will get on some people's nerves. So I was like, guys, this is a joke. Oh. I don't even understand how like, this is a joke. And then they laughed again. The people in the auditorium enjoyed the jokes, but the people who were watching from home. So I
Wow.
finished. I'm like, and then I went on to other jokes because the punchline of that joke was I met a guy whose name was uh, Steven. His name was Matthew Pentois. And I said, Pentois, yeah, what lady would drop her surname to come for Pentois? like, you're like now your name is Frema Pentois. No, you won't take it. You understand? And you go to for like a
Maybe
PT.
for a Ghanaian, but outside Ghana culture, they'll
Yeah.
probably
Uh-huh.
think it's a cute, nice name
But
for,
Pentois,
Pentua.
it's too aggressive, you know. So like you go for a program and you say, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matthew Pentois. This is my wife, Frema Pentois. This is our three children, Kwadwo Pentua, Adwa Pentua, and Kwabena Pentua. Together, we are the
The
Pentuas.
Pinterest.
So that was a joke. Hey, I finished performing. I leave stage. I get into an Uber. This is I didn't have a car. I get into an Uber. I'm going home, and then I go on Twitter, and I'm trending on Twitter #1 because of the joke. People start. That was 24th December. The 25th was worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they started calling me on my phones, texting me.
How did you deal with it?
I was tough. I cried home. Like I love to
You like
express
to
my
cry,
emotions as a
Obi?
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I need to cry, I'll cry. Today, even when I was shaving my hair, the guy brought the thing near my nose.
It's like
I started tearing in my right eye. So yeah, I don't mind crying. I mean, if you can call
they
me.
said real men cry.
Yeah, I cried. So I cried. I actually wept because I felt like I didn't do it out of malice. I was doing. No comedian goes on stage to offend people.
Right.
You go on stage to make people laugh. That's your primary goal. That's it. That's like your only goal. Nobody goes there to make people unhappy. And so I felt like I was misunderstood, and the aggression that was coming towards me was too much. And so a few people called me. Um, so Chris Safo called me, and then he was like, "What am I doing?" I said, I don't know. And he said, oh, I should make a show out of it, out of the barrage of insults I was getting. I should make a joke, a comedy show out of it. He's ready to give me an auditorium for that. And then DKB called me. And DKB was like, "Yo, so what are you also going?" I said, "Me, I'm quitting." Oh." I told him that I was leaving. I'm not going to do comedy again. I'm applying to do my master somewhere so that
Yeah.
I start all over again. I was like, nah, even now I for do more. For DKB, such an inspiration.
Yeah.
Give it to like for do more. So by virtue of those two advice, I actually put up another show called Political Refugee.
But was the president himself offended, or it was just the
It was just the
supporters?
people, the supporters. I
Oh,
don't know whether he was because I
I
wouldn't
don't. I
know.
mean, you didn't get a call
Yeah,
from
but
him.
Sam George actually wrote about it. He wrote about me and said, so like I told you, this is 24th, I've done a show, and then on 25th, I'm getting badge. But on 26th, I'm on 1,000 laughs. And so, and 1,000 laughs is like the holy grail of Ghana
Right, of
comedy. So,
comedy.
Sam George was like, if I don't apologize, they will take me off that, like, NDC folks will not show up for that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so,
For that.
like they wanted to cancel me for that.
Yeah, because sometimes in America the comedians they are rough.
Yeah, yeah, for that,
They
man.
should ask your mama.
It's crazy, oh. Like,
They
but
should ask George Bush actually.
yeah,
George Bush.
yeah. In fact, they hold a whole ball for comedians to come and roast presidents. But I feel Ghana, we are getting there. I feel like sometimes I'm a sacrificial comedian for the other comics,
Right.
but I put my head out there for people to like see
You
the
be the
kind of jokes,
scapegoat.
yeah, they can make. And so after that, like, so 26th, the plan was to take me off. And so the one of the organizers contacted me, George Quay, was like, "What are you going to do? You have to apologize." I was like, "I can't apologize. If I apologize for this joke, it
Then
means
I'm
I
a
would have
man
to
that's
apologize
not
for
all
all jokes
jokes.
that people
Yeah.
are offended by." And I was like, "But still, I mean, the people want him to take me off and all that." So he wrote the apology letter for me and then sent it to me to just post it. And I was like,
It still came from you, so
so it was
yeah.
written by management. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I took it. I took it and then I posted it, because again, I didn't want people angry at me. I wanted people,
Yeah, because the whole
comfortable,
thing is
yeah,
is
comfortable
yeah.
watching me. Yeah. So that was a tough time. Though that show, it got me into quite an amount of trouble, but I was like, I mean, this is comedy, and I should be ready for these things. There was a time I actually did a comedy show, and then about 4 months later, I mentioned somebody's name. I mentioned Israeli's name. 4 months later, after I had posted it on YouTube, his wife called me to insult me.
Oh yeah.
And then went to even post on Facebook
Oh
that
wow.
I was not brought up well and all that. I was like,
Okay.
this joke is nothing, man. So
Yeah.
I actually copied the joke and then posted it under her Facebook post that people should see if this joke is derogatory, and it wasn't. So
We
yeah, I
realized
mean,
that.
people get offended by how they relate to a joke, but in the end, they understand that it's just comedy
Right.
without any malice.
Some of your jokes are not really
Yeah.
family oriented. I was going to ask you that. So
If I had kids,
yes.
I'll still do the jokes. The ones
Would
I'm
you like-
performing to have kids also. What makes me special? Everybody has, yeah, I mean, but jokes, comedy, jokes are for the, I mean, jokes are specific, okay? I wouldn't go to maybe a kids event and crack some jokes. I do a lot of church events, and none of them would you hear me saying those jokes that people know me to say. So we, as a comedian, you try to find the audience and you try to find how to relate with them. You understand? They are laughing because they can relate to the joke. If they cannot, they won't laugh at the jokes. So yeah, you try to be very there's an English for it, circumspect. circumspect of
Right.
what you choose. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, correct. Aside comedy and then, what you do professionally, what other things might your fans find you doing that would surprise them? Like, at OB at home, what does OB do?
Maybe yeah, like conducting a choir.
We've
Yeah.
seen you conducting choir. Your fans already
Also,
know
they know
that.
that.
Yeah, we already know that you do conduct a
But
choir, you sing. That
okay,
what we know.
I have an uh, overwhelming love for shea butter.
What do you do with shea butter?
A lot of things. I just love shea butter.
Tell me
It's
what
so
you do with
calm on
shea
the
butter.
skin. It's
So what are you processing it?
no, but I have a lot home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you come to me, if you come to my house and you don't get anything, you get shea butter.
What outside activities?
Outside,
Yes.
like outside activity. If I'm outside,
If this is OB, not comedy, not being a doctor, but aside these two things, and then aside conducted music, what else?
I like going to so church is not part.
No.
Okay, then I enjoy
Church
listening
is not
to
a hobby.
yeah, I enjoy listening to loud music and at corner.
So you're an introvert then.
Oh no, outside.
Oh, okay.
So you know the Gen Z DJs, they have a thing they do with music. They don't play the whole music. They just play 5 seconds of it, and then the next. I like listening to that. So like Saturday nights and maybe Sunday nights as well. Me and like the comedy friends, we go out, and I usually want to be around the speaker so I can just listen to the loud music.
On the speaker.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like loud music, like especially the bass. It just hits my heart. There's something it does to me. I don't know. Maybe somebody else feels like that, but it's just incredible for me.
I see.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I
It's
love loud music.
strange.
Yeah, it's strange.
I never heard that before.
Especially I'm a piano like
Right.
boom boom.
So you just
I
feel it
like
over here.
like okay,
The
hit me.
vibration.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
I see. All right. So now that you're here in America, what are the plans so far? In comedy, because earlier on you did mention that are you going to further school? Because here everything you have to
Oh
still
yeah.
go to school and for that.
I'm hoping to uh, do a lot more comedy clubs. You know, the American market is beautiful for comedy. Like nowhere would you be that you won't get a comedy club to perform at. That's what is lacking in Ghana. Ghana, we only have one comedy club and it runs every Thursday. But for here, you can find a comedy club Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday throughout. And these are even open spots. You understand? They are like you can have 4 spots a night. And so it gives you, the comedian, the chance to hone your skills. Because for us, if you write a joke, you need to hone it. You need to work it out and see how the joke will work on it. So if I'm doing the joke in North Carolina, I want to see if it will work in Georgia. You understand? So, and that you need a lot of practice and it's available here. So I'm enjoying the space. Like so far, I've done two nights at Idiot Box Comedy Club.
Okay, here
Yeah,
North Carolina.
at Greensboro, and I have more mics that I'm gonna do. So I'm here in
Georgia can't wait to have you.
yeah.
All right.
Here in America. I'm trying to like explore the space, test how far my comedy can go, and also test the Ghanaian market as well. You know, there are a lot of Ghanaians in. We call you guys a diaspora. Yeah, so test that, and work on other things. I'm hoping to pursue optometry as well. I'm looking at if Trump is as easy. If Trump doesn't make it too difficult, be on the road,
Okay,
Yeah.
Captain.
But I mean, whatever happens, we are hoping for the best. Yeah.
Right.
And I've told you the grand scheme already, so we hope to make enough to be able to pursue those dreams.
Awesome. You cannot leave this place. Listen, I've got guys over there. So you cannot leave this place without cracking one joke for us. Let's hear something. New joke in Nana Frema TV America, wherever.
I mean, I don't know, man. I cracked the best. I mean, because I told you already. I've written some new jokes that like I'm trying out on at comedy clubs. Just like the one I told you before. That one works very well. I don't know about the rest, you know.
They're not gonna know.
No, what?
They're not gonna know the
They're not gonna
things.
know.
Yeah.
No, but let me tell. Maybe let me tell you an old joke. Maybe you haven't heard that before. So, it's more about entrepreneurship. You know, yeah. You are an entrepreneur. I am also an entrepreneur. Like, I know of a woman in my hood who is an entrepreneur, but she's like the best I've seen. Like, she cooks and sells food, right? So in the morning she sells rice water, and by in the afternoon she sells awamu, and then in the evening she sells mutu. So if you don't buy the rice water in the morning, she doesn't care. In the afternoon, the leftover, she just adds oil to it. It's a one more for you in the afternoon. If you don't buy the one more in the
No
afternoon, she doesn't
problem.
care. In the evening, Nyaka no abon mutu. If you don't buy the mutu in the evening, the next morning she mashes it for you. It's rice water again. So we call it anti-crama recycle. And when you, because she's the only person who sells food in the area, you can't say you won't buy. In
Right.
fact, you'll be passing, she'll be like, yeah, if you don't buy it today, you buy it tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Give me 5 CDs. So yeah, I hope that works for Frema TV.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming.
Thank you.
What What is the best advice you've ever had from another comedian?
The best advice is to be original. Yeah, because when I started comedy, I was like doing basket mouth jokes. You know, the two things involved in life. There are like he came to do a very popular joke in Ghana during Mentor, one of the seasons, and it really blew up. So I copied that joke, and then I started following him, started telling his jokes. And a friend told me that, yo, if you continue doing this, what are you going to do when you two are put on the same stage to perform? That's when I realized I needed to be original, and original pace, being original pace. So that advice I've always kept, to be my original self, not to fake anything, just tell my jokes the original way, how things are supposed to be, and it's really helped me a lot.
Have you had any other, comedians, like, previous Ghanaian comedians give you an advice?
Yeah, I think I have this friend in the Botswana. Yeah, he actually visited Ghana during my show, and then he advised me that, especially with the comedy shows, like with regards to, Ghana, after the show, Obaboka, you don't, like, he literally don't make anything out of it. But he kept advising me that what is important is to push the passion. You understand? All the other things start adding up. And I realized that, like, the moment you begin to make a step, things start to fall in place. Like my first show I did at National Theatre, I just said, okay, I want to do National Theatre. And then things started falling in place. So he had, like, the advice he actually gave me was to make a move anytime you have an idea, and it just materializes. Yeah, for me, God just put things in place the moment I decide to move towards a certain path. Yeah, and I believe even for here that I am right now, it is a path that God is creating for me. So I always believe that, like, to make a move and then believe that God will hold you. Yeah.
What's your last word for the audience today?
Hello, people watching Frema TV. My name is OB Amponsah. It's been an amazing conversation. I'm out here hustling, pursuing and following my dreams. I'm glad that you guys love my comedy. I'm glad that you enjoy my performances. 2025 is going to be an excellent year. Pray for me. I also pray for you. Continue to be nice to each other, and let's have a beautiful year. God bless you. Keep watching Frema TV.
All right. I know you had so much fun, more than I did over here. Um, if you haven't subscribed, you already know, go ahead and then subscribe to that button. They say that it takes a village to raise a kid. At the same time, also, it takes a village to help somebody prosper, to support. And I want to thank my supporters from day one. I want to thank Call Motions Lawrence Tete for putting this together, putting Anafrema TV together. I also want to thank one of my brother, Motino Martin. Motino, if you're watching me, um, thank you so much for everything. You're an amazing brother, and I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Obi.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we cannot wait. Guys, get ready. And I mean it. If you're in Atlanta, get ready for Obi, okay? He's about to blow this place up.
So that's so. How is it? Atlanta?
Atlanta.
It's not Atlanta.
No, Atlanta.
Thank you.
Let's
for
try it.
educating-
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Atlanta.
Atlanta.
So what is the T?
Atlanta.
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 Just say
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Hey, my people in Atlanta. I got you. See you in Atlanta.
Yes.
It's difficult to.
Toodles.
Atlanta.
You